In this video, we're going to go back over solving rate problems by setting up equivalent rates or by comparing rates by identifying our unit rates. As I read through this first question, I'm going to try to break down the information, and it's helpful to be writing rates as a fraction and making sure that we continue to use labels when we do that. I'm going to be looking for what is a better price. So initially upon reading that question, I know I'm going to have to be comparing two things. So when we compare, we want to remember that we want to find our unit rate first. So I'm going to break this into two parts because I have two different rates. I have the first one, which is 4 bags of chips for $3.76. That's option number 1. And option number 2 is 5 bags for $4.50. So I can tell just by reading the question, each of these is giving me two separate rates. And then writing them as fractions. When we're talking about money, and especially when we're comparing price, we want to make sure we're putting the dollar amount on top. So for the first one, it's $3.76 is the price for 4 bags. And then I'm going to go ahead and write the same thing here, number 2 with dollars on top. And by including a label, it just makes it easier to distinguish what the information is actually going to be telling us. To find a unit rate, we're going to find how much for 1. So in this case, we're going to find the dollar amount that we would pay for 1 bag of chips. When we are making equivalent rates, remember we can multiply or divide. And so I want to identify how am I going from 4 bags to 1. And I'm doing that by dividing. 4 divided by 4. And I'm going to show my work like this, but I am going to do this division step on a calculator. So $3.76 divided by 4 tells me that if I was going to buy just 1 bag, it would cost me 94 cents. So I'll repeat that step for option number 2. Again, to make this equivalent, 5 bags divided by 5 will give me 1. And so again, I'll show that I'm going to divide, but I will do the calculation right on the calculator. So $4.15 divided by 5 tells me at this place I would be paying 83 cents per bag. And so I'm just going to put a star on this one because in price we want to spend less money, so less dollars here is a better deal. Again, as I read through the question, I want to be breaking this down. So in number 2, we are asked who is going faster. So again, I recognize this is going to be asking me to compare. And I'm going to compare 2 different speeds this time. Okay, how fast they're going is telling you a speed. So we have a car, and we have a boat. And again, we want to know which is faster. So I'm going to write those 2 rates as a fraction. When I'm talking about speed, I'm going to put the distance on top. So I have 46. Again, it's helpful to keep that label. 46 represents meters in 12 seconds. And then the boat. Okay, this is why including a label is going to be helpful. I know I want to have meters over seconds. So this switched the order and it gave me seconds first. So 16 is going on the bottom and 50 is the meter amount, so 50 goes on top. Okay, just a reason why we want to make sure we're including a label. And so now again, to compare these 2 speeds, what I'm going to identify is how far they go in 1 second for each of them. And again, I do this by dividing. 12 divided by 12 would be 1, and 46 divided by 12. I can do that on a calculator. And I'll just go 2 decimal places, so 3.83. And then the boat, we're dividing by 16. Make sure you're showing your work, but doing the division on a calculator. And again, we'll just go 2 decimal places. So what this is telling me is the car can go 3.83 meters in 1 second, and the boat is going 3.12 meters in 1 second. So the person going faster is the person who's going the further distance amount in 1 second. So here we're looking for the larger number to compare speed, and that would be the car. All right, number 3. You can decorate 6 cookies in 5 minutes. How long will it take you to make 20? So in reading this, I'm recognizing this is different than the previous questions we've been working on. Okay, I am not told 2 unit rates. I am told 1 person's rate, and I'm going to use that to predict a different value. So to do this, I'll set this one up using a table. Okay, and I only need 1 table because I'm only concerned about just my cookie decorating. So again, having a label will be helpful. So the information in the table that we have is cookies and minutes. And the first thing I'm going to input in my table is when I have both of those numbers together. So I have 6 cookies in 5 minutes, so they will go next to each other like this. And then I'm going to input into my table, what is this question asking me to solve for? I want to know how long, so I don't know the number of minutes, it will take me to make 20 cookies. And so now, in order to figure out this question mark value, I need to know if I multiplied or divided my original 2 numbers to get my new set. And so I'll look at the 2 numbers that are on top of each other. We have 6 and 20. And so I'm going from 6 to 20, so I would say I'm multiplying. I'm not sure what I'm multiplying by. So to figure out 6 times what is 20, I will actually do 20 divided by 6. And again, when we get a decimal, I'm just going to give me 1 decimal point here. That would be fine. Times 3.3. And so then if I multiply that side, I'm going to do the same thing here. 5 times 3.3, and I get 16.5. Okay. Organizing the information in a table is one way. And on the last problem I'm about to do, I'm going to show you how to organize it if you wanted to do it as fractions. All right, again, in number 4, just by looking at it, I know I'm only told 1 rate. I can just see I'm finding out about a helicopter. It goes 5 minutes is 25 miles. That's 1 rate, so it's comparing minutes to miles. And I want to use that to figure out how many minutes it will take per mile. So I'm going to organize my information this time into 2 fractions, and I'm going to start with the information I'm given together. So 5 minutes is given with 25 miles, and so I'll write it as a fraction like that. Again, important to keep those labels. And so now, when I'm trying to solve this question, how many minutes, so I don't know the number of minutes, per mile. So per means 1 mile. And so now I'm going to decide, am I multiplying or dividing? So going from 25 to 1, Those are the two numbers I know. To get 1, I know any number divided by itself. So 25 is being divided by 25 to get 1. And I'll repeat that step over here. Okay, make sure you're putting it in the order that it is given. So I'm going to do 5 divided by 25, and that gives me my answer of 0.2. Okay, in this video, I hope that you take away that including labels is really important. And half the battle in solving a question like this is organizing your information. So before you try answering any of the questions independently, I encourage you to circle, underline, highlight, and break down the information to help you set up how to solve it.